Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Sutara Śrimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Śrimad Bhagāvatam ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled doers, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled doers, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled doers, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glories Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthābhutale Śrimadi Tamal Krishna Goswamiti Namre. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthābhutale Śrimadi Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namre. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschachadistarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya
Namaskritya
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswati Vyasam
Tato Jayamudiraye
Tato Jayamudiraye
Nasta praeshu abhadreshu
Naspatreshu abhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nidham Bhagavati Sevaya
Bhagavate Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Tumasloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki
Bhakti Pavati Naistaki.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Good morning.
早晨咁多位，
Thank you for coming to this morning Śrimad Bhagāvatam class. We are reading from Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 15, The Pandavas Retired Timely. We are doing text 45.
多謝今日出席早上個聖典播加雅壇講課。今日讀播加雅壇第一篇創造第15章潘達亞兄弟及時引隊第45個詩節。
Sarvetam anu nirjagmur
Sarvetam anu nijatmu
Sarvetam anu nirjagmur
Sarvetam anu nijamu
Bhratara krita nischayaha
Ratara Kritalischaya
Bhratara krita nischayaha
Ratara Kritalischaya
Kalina dharma mitrena
Kalina Dhamma Mitrena
Kalina dharma mitrena
Kalina Dhamma Mitrena
Dritsva sprishta prajabhuvi
Vishva Sprista Prajapuvi
Dritsva sprishta prajabhuvi
Vishva Sprista Prajapuvi
Sarvetam manu nirjagmur
Savedam Anuniramu
Bhratara krita nischayaha
Ratara Kitadischaya
Kalina dharma mitrena
Kalina Dhamma Mitrena
Dritsva sprishta prajabhuvi.
Vishva Sprista Prajapuvi.
Please chant. Sarvetam anu nirjamur
Bhratara Kritanischaya Kalina Dhamma Mitrena Vishva Sprista Prajapuvi. Sarvetam anu nijamu
Sarvetam anu nirjagmur
Bhratara Krita Nischaya
Bhratara krita nischayaha
Kalina Dhamma Mitrena
Kalina dharma mitrena
Vishva Sprista Prajapuvi
Dritsva sprishta prajabhuvi. Okay. Sarve, all his younger brothers,
他所有的弟弟
tam, him,
他
anu nirjagmu, left home by following the elder.
跟隨長者離開了家庭
Bhrataraha, brothers,
弟弟
krita nischayaha,
Krishna Nischaya
decidedly,
果斷的
Kalina,
Kalina
by the age of Kali,
被卡利年代
Adharma,
Adharma
principle of irreligion,
非宗教的原則
Mitrena,
Mitrena
by the friend,
由朋友
Dritsva,
Vishva
observing,
注意到
Sprishtaha, having overtaken,
已經壓倒
Raja, all citizens,
所有的居民
Bhuvi, on the earth.
在地球上。
Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: The younger brothers of Maharaj Yudhishthira observed that the age of Kali had already arrived throughout the world and that the citizens of the kingdom were already affected by irreligious practice. Therefore, they decided to follow in the footsteps of their elder brother.
譯文要旨由世尊 A.C. 巴特毗丹特斯華美聖 PowerPoint 提供。譯文由第斯特王的弟弟們觀察到卡利年代已經擴展到全世界，王國中的居民已經受到非宗教嘅影響，於是決定效法他們的哥哥。
Purport: The younger brothers of Maharaj Yudhishthira were already obedient followers of the great emperor, and they had sufficiently been trained to know the ultimate goal of life. They therefore decided to follow their eldest brother in rendering devotional service to Lord Sri Krishna. According to the principles of Sanatana Dharma, one must retire from family life after half the duration of life is finished, and must engage himself in self-realization. But the question of engaging oneself is not always decided. Sometimes retired men are bewildered about how to engage themselves for the last days of life. Here is a decision by authorities like the Pandavas. All of them engaged themselves in favorably culturing the devotional service of the Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to Swami Sridhara, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha, or fruitive activities, philosophical speculations, and salvation, as conceived by several persons, are not the ultimate goal of life. They are more or less practiced by persons with no information of the ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life is already indicated by the Lord Himself in the Bhagavad Gita 18.65, and the Pandavas were intelligent enough to follow it without hesitation.
要旨由第斯特王的弟弟們一直是他這位偉大帝王恭順的順從，他們都受到足夠嘅訓練，清楚生命最高嘅目標。正因為如此，他們堅決跟隨他們的哥哥，為聖主 Krishna 做奉愛服務。按照社會四階層和靈性四進階制度，人必須在人生過半時退出家庭生活，必須從事有關覺悟自我嘅活動。然而，並不是所有人都知道究竟該怎樣安排自己嘅生活。很多人退休後變得迷茫，不知道該如何過渡自己嘅剩下嘅時光。這師中告訴我們，像潘特亞兄弟那樣的權威人士所作嘅決定，他們每一個人都滿懷愛心地為至尊聖嘅神手聖主 Krishna 做奉愛服務。按照史華米雪達的說法，宗教信仰、經濟發展、感官享樂和解脫，或說功利性活動、哲學性思想和追求解脫，這些被少數人認可嘅活動，並不是生命嘅最高目標。這些活動或多或少由那些不了解生命最高目標的人從事的。至於這生命嘅最高目標究竟是什麼？至尊主本人在博伽梵歌第18章第64師節中已經為我們指明了。潘亞兄弟有足夠嘅智慧，因此毫不猶豫地按至尊主嘅教導去做。
Om Ajnanatamrandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshushanmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukam Karati Vachalam Vangam Langete Girim Yatkripatama Manje Shri Gurum Venataram Paramananda Madham Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahodato Gadodeyo Pushpavanto Chitra Sandho Tamonada. So once again I'll read the translation. The younger brothers of Maharaj Yudhishthira observed that the age of Kali had already arrived throughout the world, and that the citizens of the kingdom were already affected by irreligious practice. Therefore, they decided to follow in the footsteps of their elder brother.
我再讀一次譯文。由第斯特王的弟弟們觀察到卡利年代已經擴張到全世界，王國中嘅居民已經受到非宗教嘅影響，於是決定效法他們的哥哥。
Right. So here in this context of the verse itself, we see that what they are seeing, the Pandavas, is that the majority of the people were already affected by irreligious practices.
咁從呢個詩節嘅內文入邊都睇到，就潘大兄弟嚟講，佢察覺到啦，而且整個王國邊啲居民咧都睇到嚟講，呢個非宗教已經係影響到全國嗰度。
And the Pandavas are not ordinary people. They know religious principles. They understood their duties very well. At this point in their life, they have decided that they have completed their duties.
咁潘大兄弟嚟講，佢唔係普通嘅人喺度咧，知道咩嘅宗教原則喺度。咁佢哋完成咗個責任嚟講，佢知道應該係跟住點樣去做。
And therefore, they decided to quit their material life.
咁於是決定就離開佢哋物質嘅生活。
Now, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains how that by quitting this material life, they have taken up pure devotional service.
咁聖波班要旨嚟講，離開啲物質生活嚟講咧，就係要接受靈修嘅一個生活。
In general, most people think that the karma kanda activities, dharma, artha, karma, and moksha, where religion, economic development, sense enjoyment, and liberation, they consider that to be the goal of life.
咁響業報之報入邊提到嚟講係宗教啊、經濟發展、感官享樂同埋解脫，而一般人嚟講以為呢啲就係人生嘅目標。
Mahaprabhu says that developing love of God is actually the highest goal, the ultimate goal. 咁主要睇完摩巴布講到就係對培神啊培養呢個最高愛嚟講係最高嘅人生目標。 He says it's prema pumartha mahan. Among all these four arthas that we go after, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, the prema pumartha, it's higher than all that. It is the goal of life.
咁佢講到呢四個階段啊，經濟發展啊、感官享樂同埋解脫嚟講咧，而對神嘅愛嚟講咧係高於所有呢啲嘅一切。
So this is confirmed by Sridhar Swami. Srila Prabhupada highlights that he says this following the four arthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, it's not the goal of life.
咁喺帕帕爾講到嚟講咧，由斯達swami亦都係提到嚟講，頭先講到呢個經濟發展、感官享樂解脫嚟講咧，唔係人生最高嘅目標嚟。
Generally, Srila Prabhupada says these things are pursued by people who don't know the true purpose of life.
咁帕帕指出咧，一啲人嚟講唔知道人生真正嘅目標嚟講咧，先會係追尋呢啲咁嘅嘢。
This is what we call avidya, ignorance.
咁呢啲我哋就稱之為叫做 avidya， 就係愚昧無知。
It's interesting because they know so much of the Vedic culture, but then they don't know what is the ultimate goal of life.
咁好有趣嘅就係呢啲人嚟講，知識啊，偉達經嘅好多邊嘅知識喺度，但係對人生嘅真正嘅目標嚟講係一無所知。
And we know in the 4th chapter, Krishna explains how, this even proper practice of religion also gets watered down and forgotten eventually.
咁Krishna 第4章講到啦，呢啲收集嘅呢啲嘅人嘅宗教嚟講之後嚟講，都會係嘅收集嚟講變咗係低墮落嚟喺度啊，或者會係唔跟得好嚴謹喺度。
So time again and again, Krishna says, I come back to re-establish, to teach people because they don't know what to do after some time.
所以 Krishna 講到係不時嚟講咧，係會再嚟亂，又會再嚟講，就係重建翻呢個宗教原則咧。因為一啲人嚟講唔知道係應該係點樣做。
Yeah. So here we see the case of Pandavas. They are not actually pursuing something to enjoy. Rather, they understood what Krishna has taught them, And so Srila Prabhupada quotes this verse, Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyajimam namaskuru mam evasyasi satyam te pratijani priyosi me. Always remember me, worship me, pay obeisance, and he says, surely you'll come to me. Yeah.
咁喺度，我知道邊兄弟嚟講咧，好清楚呢種嘅原則，亦都明白到 Krishna 對你教導。所以聖帕巴似仲有頭先講第18章到64節嚟講，就係時時想住我啦，向我頂拜啦，同埋係向我頂拜，跟住就會成為個奉獻者嚟講咧，我係會最鍾愛嘅呢啲人，最後會嚟到我嗰度。
And Srila Prabhupada highlights in the sentence, in the last sentence, he says, the Lord has indicated what is the purpose of life, and then this is very important for us to relate to. He says, Pandavas were intelligent enough to follow it.
咁聖帕巴你強調一段嚟講啦 ，Krishna 已經係指清楚嚟講，人生講我哋應該係點樣做喺度，而潘達亞兄弟嚟講咧係好足夠聰明咧，係知道係點樣跟隨。
So in the beginning of the purport, Prabhupada says, everyone at a certain time in life you must finish whatever your material duties are, and then you have to pursue spiritual goal.
咁聖帕巴講咧，人一生嚟講咧，時間好快就會係過去喺度嘅。咁當我哋完成物質嘅嘢之後嚟講，離開物質嘢就要向靈修方面嚟講係要進發。
And that is real intelligence.
呢啲就係真正嘅智慧。
Even in the verse where we glorify Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it says that those who worship him are sumedasa, very intelligent.
咁有一個詩節提到嚟講咧，就係當我哋係明白到主要睇摩巴布嚟講，呢啲人嚟講係最聰明嘅。
Yeah. So if we look at this dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, we can understand dharma is important because it establishes morality.
咁頭先提到你譬如宗教啊、經濟發展啊、感覺享樂同埋解脫嚟講，咁提到宗教好緊要，因為佢係建立咗一個道德嘅個標準原則。
Good behavior, proper etiquette, all that dharma will establish.
咁宗教嚟講就會建立為好似係合適嗰個禮貌喺度啊，一個人個行為準則係乜嘢喺度。
But the problem is it remains a ritualistic activity and there's no devotion.
但係呢啲嚟講，全部係呢啲儀式方面嘅一個儀軌嚟㗎，係對Krishna 愛心奉愛心嚟講係冇點提及到。
When you do something as a ritual, it becomes dry if there's no devotion.
當我哋係淨係做一啲咁嘅儀式嚟講咧，變咗嚟講係入邊係好空洞冇嘢喺度嘅，變咗係完全係冇一個愛心喺度。
And then artha means accumulating some wealth and money. It's actually economic development.
咁好似譬如我哋係累積財富嚟講啦，咁呢個就係一個經濟嘅發展。
It provides us security, material security.
可能係俾到我哋喺物質方面嘅一個叫做安心啦、保障。
But it makes us become attached to that material thing.
但係同樣嚟講咧，令到我哋會係執着呢啲物質嘅擁有。
Therefore, artha can distract us from Krishna because we are not using it in service of Krishna.
所以呢方面嘅一個物質嘅擁有啊、財富嘅累積嚟講咧，亦都會令到我哋分心嚟講，唔會係向 Krishna 方面，唔會向 Krishna。
And the third one is kama. Kama means to pursue sense gratification or sense pleasure.
咁第三嚟講就 kama 就係追求呢啲物質方面嘅享受享樂。
But when the pursuance of sense pleasure is not regulated properly, it leads to bondage.
咁但係呢啲嘅追尋享樂嚟講，如果係冇受過規範底下嚟去做咧，變咗係令到一個人哋係只會受到捆綁。
What kind of bondage? The worst kind of bondage where you come back, repeated birth, death, old age and disease.
咁係又受到咩嘅捆綁咧？而係最壞嘅捆綁嚟講，就係重複一個輪迴喺呢個物質世界。
And then the last one, moksha, mostly because people don't want to suffer, so they want to act in such a way that there's no reaction.
咁比至於解脫嚟講啦，咁一啲人嚟講因為唔想受苦喺度啦，咁佢所以係想做一啲嘢嚟講係擺脫呢啲嘅業報嘅反應。
But moksha also is very self-centered, and it's not any devotion there.
但即使係解脫到啦，都係仍然以自己為中心啦，係完全冇呢個愛心存在。
And liberation is incomplete until we have service to the Supreme Lord.
咁解脫嚟講咧，係唔得到圓滿喺度嘅，除非我哋去到係向至尊主係奉獻呢個奉愛服務。
Actually, all this dharma, artha, kama, moksha, they can be supportive for bhakti practice.
咁其實呢啲嘅經濟發展啊、感官享樂啊或者解脫嚟講，完全可以係支撐住等我哋去到呢個向住呢個奉愛方面嘅發展。
Yeah, they are not the final goal.
但係呢個唔係最終嘅一個目標。
Okay, so to actually rise above dharma, artha, kama, moksha, we need to practice regulative principles.
為咗要係提升我自己超越頭先所講到呢啲經濟發展、感官享樂、解脫嚟講咧，所以我哋要係將自己規範落嚟。
And therefore, you find Srila Prabhupada within the Bhagāvatam also, one should follow the 4 regulative principles because they provide the basis or the foundation for bhakti.
咁所以點解聖經教壇裏邊好多時會提到要跟隨呢4個規範守則？因為4個規範守則嚟講就一個最基礎嚟講，我哋點樣係去到呢個奉愛服務。
So we don't eat meat. I mean, you all know this, but still, it's a refresher. You don't eat meat because it cultivates. Huh? It doesn't cultivate. You don't eat meat. Yeah. So what is that? What is ahimsa? No violence. Well, actually, what does it mean? No violence means you're developing, compassion.
咁我哋譬如唔食肉，咁大家都知道喺度。咁唔食肉係為咗咩咧？就係培養叫做非暴力嘅心態喺度。咁除咗最終帶出嚟咩？個就係慈悲心。
So similarly, no intoxication. What does that cultivate when we don't?
咁好似譬如我哋唔服用麻醉藥品嚟講，最後嚟講係為咗係培養出啲咩嘅心態咧？
Cultivates austerities. What else?
係啦，做苦行啦。
I mean, that's the main thing. It makes you be able to practice austerities.
咁呢個係幫助我哋係容易收集呢個係做呢個苦行。
But it also gives you clear mind. So clarity of the mind.
另一方面嚟講，帶到我哋個清晰嘅頭腦啦，睇事情會好清楚。
Because if you're intoxicated, you can't think. You think everything is under your control, and you misuse it. Yeah. 咁當我哋如果處於一個麻醉嘅狀態嚟講咧，咁我哋唔認以為所有嘢都係受到我哋控制咧，所有嘢都係我哋支配嘅。 And no illicit sex.
咁至於講到係冇呢個係非婚姻外嘅性生活。
Cleanliness or purity. Yeah.
就係培養嚟講一個清潔啦，同埋一個係純正清潔純粹嘅。
And it allows us to control our karma.
咁亦都係可以控制我哋個慾無色慾嗰度。
And we can use that in the service of Krishna.
我用呢方面嘅一個色慾嚟講係我哋服務 Krishna。
Okay, the last one is?
佢最後一個係咩嘢？
Yes, gambling. So when we don't gamble, we cultivate honesty.
咁如果我哋唔賭博嚟講，我點樣就培養到一個正直嘅心態？
So honesty, what does it mean? It avoids speculation and greed.
咁誠實或者正直嚟講，就係代表我哋嚟講係唔會係人哋啊，同埋喺冇一個貪婪嘅一個心態。
And therefore, you can see all these practices, they become very supportive for practicing bhakti to Krishna.
所以我睇到咧呢幾方面嚟講係做一個好嘅基礎啦，係俾我哋係向收集奉愛而家嘅。
And so dharma becomes a service, artha becomes an offering, kama becomes loving with Krishna, and moksha gives you eternal engagement with Krishna.
咁講到係宗教就喺度講嗰個奉愛啦，跟住你講經濟 咁經濟發展嚟講個就係服務喺度，跟住呢個係陪一個愛心嚟講係向 Krishna。
So bhakti is not a goal of life. It's actually the way we live, the way we connect with Krishna.
咁服務嚟講，其實係一個方式嚟講咧，我哋點樣係服務咧，係向 Krishna 方面嚟講係做我哋服務咁生活落去嘅。
And when we practice bhakti following the 4 regulatory principles, we find that we are protected from falling away from practice of bhakti.
咁如果我哋跟住呢4個區分守則嚟講咧，咁係做呢個奉獻服務嚟講，就可以做一個保障啦。我哋唔會嚟講係被脫離呢個收集呢個奉愛服務。
And so for us to become like the Pandavas, we have to daily practice remembrance of Krishna.
咁如果我哋係好似講到你潘達兄弟嚟講咧，變咗我哋要每一日都要係不斷咁係收集呢個奉愛瑜伽。
Srila Prabhupada is so kind that he set up this daily program, morning program, evening program, worship of deity, so many things.
咁好似Prabhupada嚟講咧，係為我哋係建立咗呢咁嘅唔同嘅項目喺度，譬如早上嘅項目啊，傍晚嘅項目啊，咁係崇拜神像嚟講咧，全部都係幫我哋係做到咁樣。
All this practice develops to a point where we want to serve.
咁所有呢啲咁嘅項目嚟講咧，希望去到一點嚟講，我哋係培養咗一個心態，就去走去服務。
We have good service attitude also.
變咗我哋有一個良好嘅服務心態。
And the practice eventually allows us to become detached, just like the Pandavas.
咁呢個收集嚟講咧，就亦都係帶到我哋嚟講有一個叫做唔好執着嘅心態，就好似潘達亞兄弟。
And then we develop how to love the Supreme Lord.
然後最後我哋係培養咗點樣去愛至尊主。
And therefore, Srila Prabhupada wanted us to see Krishna in all our activities in our life.
所以聖爸爸想我哋響我哋一生啦，我哋所有嘅活動嚟講咧，都可以係點睇到 Krishna。
And so within this purport, we can see how the Pandavas were showing us some lessons that their intelligence is that they followed Krishna completely.
呢度嚟講咧，係潘達亞嚟講係教咗我哋一堂課喺度啦，就係去點樣係跟隨 Krishna 嘅一個教導。
They didn't make any material calculation.
佢哋冇一個喺物質嗰個計量當中嚟講考慮呢方面。
Yeah, so they did not hesitate, as Prabhupada says. Immediately they said, "Yes, my time is up. Let me go. I retire."
咁佢哋都冇猶豫喺度啦。咁馬上你做出決定喺度，我即刻走去做，我係放棄一切。
Yeah, so when you're successful in life, it's not what the material things you have. It's actually your surrender to Krishna.
咁所以物質嘅一個成就嚟講，或者成功嚟講，唔係代表你嘅一切就係最好嘅嘢。真正係最成功嚟講，就係要係歸依俾 Krishna。
In America, they say the guy who dies with the most toys is the winner. Most toys means a lot of material things. You don't have to literally translate that way. It means the one who has a lot of material things, he's the winner.
意思如果就係
dies.
喺擁有最多物質嘅嘢嚟講咧，就認為係呢個人嚟講就係最成功喺度。
Yes, but you can see here how the Pandavas gave up everything: wealth, fame, position, everything they gave.
但係你都睇到嚟講，潘達兄弟嚟講咧，佢哋係放有所有嘅一切喺度嘅。
Okay, yeah, so they were more interested in loving Krishna.
佢哋係對係愛 Krishna 嚟講係更加係有興趣。
Yeah, so all our practices should come to that stage where we not only love Krishna, we love everyone connected to Krishna.
所以我哋講嘅收集咧，希望都係去到呢一點喺度啦。唔單止係愛 Krishna， 而係愛有關 Krishna 有同 Krishna 關聯嘅所有一切。
We are kind and compassionate to others, very lenient to others, but we are very strict with ourselves and we maintain a standard that Srila Prabhupada established.
我哋要係寬容啲啦，係仁慈啲對待人哋喺度，而對自己嚟講係啲嚴謹啲喺度，咁就好似Prabhupada嘅教導我哋一齊一樣。
Okay, so I'm going to stop here.
咁我喺呢度停落嚟啦。
It's a long day, so any comments, questions, additions?
咁因為跟住落嚟仲有好多 項節目係要做落去，所以有啲咩評論啊，有啲咩更正啊，可以講出嚟。
Yes.
How is the concept of retirement attached to ladies? I'm asking this because nowadays many devotees, mothers, they are not married either, or they have no sons, or their families are not devotees. So how can we retire?
咁佢講到而家好多啲女性嘅一個收集嘅奉獻者嚟講啦，咁有時或者佢結咗婚，咁或者佢冇生兒育女喺度啦，咁對呢啲收集嘅奉獻者嚟講咧，咁佢嘅所謂嘅退休嚟講嘅安排應該係點樣喺度
？This is Sri Dharma, the ladies' Dharma. What to do, right?
咁呢個係對係女士方面喺度，咁佢哋嗰個應該係點樣做啊？好實際。
Yeah, you can't go to the forest. You can't go into the fire where your husband is burnt.
因為女士嚟講唔可以走去森林嗰度啦，亦都唔可以，譬如係丈夫走之後你講要跳落個火嗰度同佢一齊殉葬咁樣。
Actually, if you look at the way the world is and so on, and some of our senior ladies like Yamuna Mataji and so on, they showed what they could do, even though their husbands left and so on. What we find is they were traveling and preaching also.
咁好似譬如我哋睇到現今我哋嗰個協會入邊嗰度啦，譬如有啲好先進步嘅奉獻者，譬如站滿啦。媽姐嚟講啦，佢丈夫走咗之後嚟講，佢繼續佢自己嗰個收集啦，咁向唔同嘅地方嚟講，繼續佢嘅傳教啦，咁我哋係跟佢學習。
The way this modern society is, we shouldn't feel that we have to follow everything exactly like in the Vedic times.
咁響我哋現今身處嘅社會嚟講啦，咁我哋係冇可能嚟講係完全跟足晒偉大時代入邊經典所講嘅嘢去做。
The higher principle is to give Krishna consciousness to all citizens or living entities.
咁最高嘅準則其實就係將 Krishna 嚟講係介紹到啦，係俾到所有嘅認識嘅人同埋係所有市民啊，入邊和國又或者所有生物體。
Therefore, traveling, preaching, and so on, those supersedes dharma. Yeah.
咁所以我哋譬如係喺唔同嘅地方嗰度係去傳教時嚟講，其實呢個係超越更加高嘅一個宗教原則嚟嘅。
And for those who don't have sons, and so they can get together, and then like many of you can go to mainland China and visit centers. Because you have so much experience that you have, and then you can share. And then many young people, they don't know what to do.
咁就好似譬如有好多嗰啲收集嘅女士嚟講，或者係無兒無女喺度啦。咁大家可以係組織埋一齊喺度啦，去到國內，因為國內有好多好大地方啦，好多唔同嘅中心啦。咁你哋自己亦都係有好豐富嘅經驗，咁可以去唔同嘅中心嚟講啦，將呢方面知識俾當地嘅年青人喺度，因為佢哋係唔認識呢方面嘅知識嘅。
But those who have sons and husbands, then they should practice at home. Show what's the ideal way of Vanaprastha life. Come to the temple, participate in all the programs.
咁至於譬如係有丈夫啊，有兒子嗰啲、有兒女嗰啲嚟講，咁可以喺屋企嗰度收集啦，做一個好嘅榜樣嘅理想嘅一個收集啊，一個退休生活嘅 Vanaprastha， 然後跟住就每日都嚟廟宇嗰度啦，參加所有嘅項目。
In America also there are many couples who go on vans, like the mobile homes, and then they go to universities, they preach, they show people you can live a happy life in this alternative lifestyle.
咁喺美國嚟講有好多啲嘅流動嘅一啲貨車喺度，咁有啲夫婦嚟講咧住喺架車度，跟住去唔同嘅校園大學嗰度嚟講就去傳教，咁俾人睇到佢講你過呢個靈修生活你幾咁之快樂啊美滿咁樣。
So, there's plenty of opportunities. We can maintain standards. We can teach others, younger people, if they are willing to come. We can teach how to cook, how to do arti.
咁好多嘅唔同嘅形式喺度啊，嘅方法可以就係傳道喺度嘅。咁我哋要保持我哋嘅水準啦。咁我哋歡迎啲年輕嘅人上嚟喺度啊，或者佢哋嚟到我哋可以係教佢哋煮嘢啊，好多嘢我哋可以做。
Some of you should be able to, learn how to teach Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita classes, or conduct Zoom classes on how to set up a temple office, how to, there are many things, how to put tilak on. You can have the videos and so on. Very few YouTube videos teach how to do arti, right? Devotees need to know how to raise children, how to not hound them and create problems for children, parents, how to understand, how to talk. So many things the couples can do.
咁譬如講到好多方面嘅嘢，就譬如話可以喺線上嗰度做一啲嘅教導喺度，譬如點樣親子，點樣教你養自己小朋友喺度啊，甚至乎可以係靠查天樂喺度啊，或者係做神像崇拜喺度啊，因為好多奉旨我哋未必都好清楚呢方面嘅嘢，咁好多好多呢啲嘢我哋都可以係諗到出嚟去走去做嘅。
There was one family in US, not devotee family, but they lived in New York, but they did not have electricity. They probably had water. No water also. They bought water and so on. So they wanted to show that you can live even in a big city without all these things.
咁喺美國嚟講，咁佢哋咪奉者嘅，咁佢哋嚟講咧係住俾生活響底下就係冇電啊冇水咁，佢哋係水仔買樽裝水喺度。咁嘅意思嚟講就係話想做一個話俾人知嚟講，即使我生活喺大城市嗰度嚟講，呢啲嘢嚟講我都唔一定係要有喺度嘅。
Actually, they did it like an experiment for 2 years to show. They had children also, so they were raising but what they proved was what Prabhupada was telling. We don't need all these things.
咁其實佢哋嚟講，佢亦就有兒有女喺度，咁佢哋住咁樣生活咗2年喺度。咁正如佢講到嚟講，就好似泡泡講就係話，其實啲生活喺啲城市嚟講，唔係有啲嘢嚟講係唔需要係有喺度。
Because this couple, they were with their children, they were in the mode of goodness, so therefore they could live like that.
咁呢對夫婦嚟講，呢位仔嚟講啦，咁佢哋係響處於一個善良形態啦，咁所以佢哋可以響咁嘅環境底下係生活。
And in winter, they had no electricity, right? It was so cold. So they said they had to buy wool clothing and so on. And they said they were okay after a while.
咁好似變冬天啦，咁好寒冷度，咁亦都係又冇暖氣，因為佢哋唔用電喺度，咁佢哋就買好多衫嚟講係穿上去喺度啦。咁跟住係過咗呢個冬天嗰時嚟講，我哋覺得可以啦，咁樣可以咁樣過冬天。
So devotees can, travel and explain to younger practitioners how to live a meaningful life without having too much material things.
咁所以奉者嚟講可以係旅遊啦，就係傳道嗰度啦。咁同啲年輕嘅一代講嚟講就係話，其實物質方面嘅嘢嚟講啦，唔係一定要係擁有好多物質方面嘅嘢嘅。
Telling them how they can actually do their devotion, how to chant their rounds because they may be busy, how to allocate time, how to plan, how to schedule, so many things they can share.
咁譬如係教你點樣係安排自己時間喺度啊，做呢個奉愛服務，安排時間點樣唱誦啊，做咁嘅點樣有個規劃喺度啊，咁你可以係教佢哋呢方面嘅嘢。
There's no one size fits all solution for different families. Different things have to be considered. 因為每個家庭嘅一個處境，每個人嘅情況係唔同喺度，唔可以話一個方案嚟講就適合晒所有人都可以用得到。So we are hoping Lalita Sundari will retire and travel in China preaching.
咁我哋想希望Lalita媽即係講可以退休啦，然後跟住去國內嗰個係繼續傳教。佢話從菲律賓嘅管理層嗰度嚟講係退落嚟啦，跟住係幫我哋喺國內傳教。
So yeah, so Yeah. Anything else? Otherwise, we can end here. Yeah.
咁你有冇乜嘢問題？如果
Thank
冇，
you
我哋
so
喺度。
much, Srila Prabhupada.
多謝咁多位，
Ki
書
jai.
啦包包結啫。
我係啊，我跟住。